Oh, okay. Oh boy. This game, oh, sheesh. This game is complicated. And, not in a good way. This game is really, how do I even explain it? This game is a pain. So, it's supposed, when I came to this, what was this called? Like, Luck something. Let me look up the exact name. I completely blanked on this game because it was so confusing. LuckCatchers, right? So pretty generic name. And like I saw like, some promo images, like this title screen. It's like, a naval steampunky looking dudes against like orcs. And I was like, wow, this looks cool, right? No, this game is the exact opposite. This game is not cool. This game is not fun. This game is not great. Although it has a certain level of charm about it, I have to admit. And I'll explain that over the course of this video. So, this game is entirely confusing. There's no, like, this little tutorial pop up. It doesn't even come up every time. I didn't get it. Like, I think half the time I started up the game and tried playing it, like, sometimes I would get the tutorial prompt that tells you what to even do, and then the other half of the time I wouldn't even get that. So that's very lame. I don't like that. But it is, I gotta admit, it's quite pretty. This is only on medium settings as well. It has a pretty nice stable frame rate and all that, so like graphically it's sound. Everything else. So this is the market. I have no idea how this is supposed to work. Like, some people are, like, I'm assuming these are players that are buying and selling all this junk, but I had no indication of what I have, how much money I have. Like, I guess in the top right's my money, but I don't know what's in my, like, my actual storage or anything like that. So that was confusing. And I'm trying to accept this job, right? So jobs are how you earn that's how you earn your keep, that's how you earn your money. But it makes zero sense. It makes zero sense because I couldn't even accept the job. It said, like, on the tip screen, like, hey, you should accept a job. You can just accept the starter jobs that cost 0 deposit, right? But there is no jobs that cost 0 deposit. So I'm just clicking on like all these menus trying to figure out what is going on. And I should say there is something to be said about a game that you kind of learn on your you learn on your own, right? But this is too much. I can't even figure out like how to start playing, right? Like a good game sets you on the path, and like I shouldn't have to struggle just to do anything at all. And it's not like Mega Man X, right? And all this is referring to Eagle Raptor's sequelitis. Great video, by the way. You should check that out. But basically, he was talking about how in Mega Man X, right, you can figure out how to play just based on how the game was designed. But this is like, this leaves no room for figuring it out. And this guy, thank God for this guy, because he kind of helped. He was talking to somebody else, but indirectly he helped me out. Eventually, after clicking through all these menus, and I actually think it's important to include this. I know, like, a lot of people would cut out like tutorials and trying to figure out stuff, but I think this is indicative of most players' experience of this game. If I went and cut right to flying cargo over the world, then a whole bunch of people might go and be like, what? This isn't what I saw in the first look. In the first look. And look at that big old blimp thing. That looks cool. I like the steampunk look of this game, I gotta admit. But and also it may have just been where I happened to start. It could totally just be like most normal people, most average people are not an average person, but an average player, I should say. An average experience might end up in a place that has a whole bunch of jobs for 0 deposit. If I didn't specify, I couldn't take the one job because it required a very high deposit amount, and I have 0 everything. And also, that's another thing. Why not just start with some currency, a little bit of currency? I don't know. Or maybe every location in the world has a couple starter jobs from from the bots or what have you, from the computer, from the computer, right? This game was a chore. I think if a game is a chore just to start playing, it's pretty awful. I should say, like, there's a lot of depth behind this, and I think, like, if you can manage to get past a lot of these, like, annoyances, then you actually have a really cool experience where you're like, I don't know, I guess this game is like a cargo delivery simulator thing, which could be cool. Like, I'll see, planes flying overhead, right? And I wonder if, that's something that I could achieve, right? To have all these warplanes flying around. And you can, like, attack and shoot with, like, warplanes, I think. But I personally was not able to get to that point. But I think that's pretty cool if you can get to that point. But just starting out, like, this game needs so much polish on the tutorial side. And this isn't even showing my first 30 minutes of this game. This is my second session with this game, trying to figure out how to play it. Oh man. And I'm trying to, like, decode this guy as, like, half of the conversation with somebody else. And if you've already played this game, you're probably looking at me like I'm an idiot. And that's also partially why I included, like, me clicking through menus a million times. So you can see, like, that it's not obvious. At the very least, like, I think there's a talent tree, by the way, which is more complication. But I think this game is fairly well designed in every aspect but, like, the tutorial and getting you up to speed kind of aspect. Like, I like that they don't clutter the screen with a bunch of UI. Like, you have your radar lower left, your character information top left, your necessary menu context cues in the bottom right, and then a very few select icons in the top right. So it's a very clean interface, and I like that. And, like, everything, works fairly well. Like the game's not crashing like No Man's Sky. Oh boy, No Man's Sky! What a disaster! This game is better than No Man's Sky at the moment. There's something to be said about that. Any minute now, I'll finally learn how to do it. Oh, okay, so I learned how to move my blimp, which is good. That's a nice first step. It does tell you how to move your blimp, which may have been like, most people would have experimented with that and figured it out. But the problem was, when I was messing around with the WASD to move my ship, it wasn't actually moving. That's because it takes a long time to ramp up to its speed. So, I was, like, holding the button for a couple seconds, nothing was happening. I think I only figured it out once I actually saw the numbers going up on my context menu. And then I figured out how you can just move your blimp around. Great. So, in those messages that I was trying to decrypt, right, from that guy up there, I figured if I can move to another location, I may be able to find a job that I can actually do, which actually ends up happening. And I think that's when, like, I started to kind of enjoy, like, when I started to feel good about this game was when I actually started to figure out how to do stuff. Like, I just accepted my first job there. And I was like, hey, finally, all right. Got past the, like, I'm taking step 1 of this game, and it only took about an hour of fiddling around in the menu. I still didn't figure out how to deliver that cargo or pick it up or anything like that. But it was a step in the right direction. Maybe this game is kind of like Kerbal Space Program in the sense that you put, like, a dozen hours into learning the basics before you actually start having fun. But at the same time, Kerbal Space Program, even in like its alpha state, had like a very comprehensive tutorial where you learned every aspect of the game, or at least most aspects of the basics. This does none of that. So I think if there is like a developer watching this, or other game developers, when your game is this complicated, you really need an extensive tutorial to get people on board. Otherwise, like I'm just I'm milling around doing nothing for an hour, and that's not fun.